All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Support webinar. Today's date is May the 13th, 2019. This is a Monday night webinar, and the title of tonight's webinar is Training on Alert Indicator and Boxing in the Trades. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar, other webinars we have, our live trading room, or anything else with Viper Trading Systems should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? If not, we are going to get started. By the way, real quick, as we get started, let me go ahead and go to our member login area real quick. If anybody doesn't have the new scripts, be sure and get them. They're right here on the website. Just go to your members area with your login and password and click on the little icon here that says NinjaTrader 7 and then click the open, and you should be able to open up this little file right here. Now, I've had people try to import this into NinjaTrader. You can't do that because this zip file is all of the NinjaTrader 7 Object Trader scripts. In other words, it's the scripts themselves, but it's also the templates. And it's even a little Word document too, a little text document on Notepad. Okay, so you can't import this. You have to actually right click and either drag it to your desktop or copy it and drop it on your desktop. Either way, you know, this is the file you want to import. These other files right here are the ones you want to put in your template folder. And your template folder is simply Documents, NinjaTrader 7, okay? Documents, NinjaTrader 7, Templates / chart, and then you just double click that chart and drop those templates in there. And then you've got everything that we've got in the trading room. This is my exact template that I use in the trading room each and every day, even updated to the new scripts too. See, it's dated 5/13, okay? So, you know, just be sure and don't try to, you know, bring this whole file in because it won't do it. NinjaTrader does not recognize all this other stuff in it. They're looking for these dynamic link library files that are in here. Okay. All right. So that'll take care of a little bit of housekeeping. And let's go ahead. Now I'm going to go ahead and since we've move this down a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of more icons down here, and I'm going to go ahead and do some little training materials on the use of lightning and different tools inside of our Object Trader scripts so that everybody can keep up with this. You know, because on all these webinars, I try to teach this and everything, but I do have an ebook for Object Trader, so we're going to do like an ebook for the indicators also. Okay, so let's go real quick to a chart, and first off, let's go to, like I do when I teach, go ahead and bring this over here, get rid of these predictors and everything, and let's see what we got here. Bear with me a second. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit more data on this before you see it. We need about 10 days on this. Bear with it a second, you'll see it. Okay. Judging by the chart that I'm looking at right now, doesn't this look pretty much like a, you know, fairly good little downtrend, right? You know, you're getting a high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, little lower low, lower high that we know of right here, and then we don't know what's over here without drawing our lightning 2 or 1 or something like that. Okay, but we do know that we're looking for shorts, right? Okay, now this was at the open of the market yesterday. So, you know, always diagnose your charts and make sure you realize that, hey, if this thing decides to, you know, go ahead and continue down, you want to draw your lines at your resistance and your support areas, right? Just the way we teach it all the time. So let's look at the actual chart and see what was going on yesterday. All right. Wouldn't you pretty much think by looking at this chart here. Let's get rid of these. We don't need them right now. That this is in a downtrend. So wouldn't you think that you would more than likely look for some type of a downtrend, on this? And this is right at the open of the market or very close to it. So you could use your object trader to actually, do like a trend line or box it in or something like that. And keep in mind that, if this was going to change trends long, what does it have to take out? Well, to me, it would have to take out this swing right here, and for sure this one, okay? But see how that's a high, a low, a lower high, and a lower low, and then this one is so close. When they're that close, I usually draw it to the second one back. You can also draw it here, but you're not looking for a long unless they decided to break up, pull back and kiss and hold, and then take off. Okay, that's the way we teach this all the time, and it works quite well. Okay, so when the market opened and everything, you were looking for shorts. Okay, you could draw a trend line and use, object trader, for instance, or boxing in. We're going to talk about boxing in tonight quite a bit. All right, let's do replay on this, and let's just box in, but let's don't take a trade just yet. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to only take a trade when it sets up. So let's do a region. Just hit insert, and I would probably at least want to break this little swing. And I usually, if I see this, I give it a couple of ticks or so just in case. And then I'm only looking for shorts. So I'm not looking for this trade unless it breaks this. And if it comes up any higher, then I'll keep boxing it in as it goes. Okay, that's the way you want to do this. All right, let me show you what actually transpired last night. So you think right out of the gate, wow, they went long. Or did they? No, they didn't go long. They actually didn't go long at all. Matter of fact, if you put your sell right in through under mid-band and happen to do a couple of contracts, you probably got a pretty decent little trade. Did some of y'all trade that last night, by the way? And draw your trend line. I like to draw trend lines on my charts. And so if I was to take this one, I might take one if it breaks and then another one if it breaks the trend line. And I could even use my wedge if I wanted to, or whichever tool. Okay, right now it's one tick out. It's got to go two. There's two. Now it's got to go one more to confirm it. And it's got to go in our direction too. And if it doesn't, we don't want the trade, do we? All right, we might draw it again. See, 1, 2, 3. See if we can get it. And remember, we're not going long on this. Now, we'd put our stop just above that little swing right there. And I look to the left to trade the right. I'd probably put my swing, just across here for right now. That's 8 ticks. We got to give it at least 8 because obviously it could still take this out just barely, especially at the open of the market. And if it does, I'd just jump back in it. Okay. Now, what about these new little tools that we are offering, though, where you can actually get some of these nice little trades based on the alert indicator? I'd sell another one, by the way. See it break that trend line. Look to the left to trade the right. You got to swing down here at the bottom. Probably want to take some profit down there, and you'd probably want to take some profit down about through here too, like that. And it looks like you got you a decent little trade. I'd probably bring my stop now that it's actually doing a little lightning. Go ahead and go even with the top of that with exit on close. And that's the way you'd manage that particular trade. Now, let me ask a quick question, though. Anybody that's watching this chart right now, do you see that if this would have decided to go up, we knew that we were looking for a break and a pullback, right? Well, it didn't do that. It rolled over. So, we got the little rollover trade. All right. Let me show you how to stay in a trade now based on this new little indicator. I want to show you something here. I'm going to go ahead and just put this one down here. And then we're going to run a runner. And we're going to run it based on this new little indicator. minimum trade short. And let's see, it'll turn black, which I've got mine set on. There's one of them flashing right there. Unfortunately, with these blue bars, that's hard to see. You don't normally get these blue bars as often, but that was a little deeper. Okay, and then I would just simply watch it, see if it goes on down. We'll just fast forward just a little bit. See how the black bar prints? See how you could just follow those black bars down. Just kind of stay just a little above it on the swing. And then you got your really, really decent trade, right? Okay, that's kind of bottoming out. See it right there? There's your little black bar right there. You can keep your stop right here, though. It looks like it's going to take it, though. It did. All right. Now, let me ask you a quick question. If you were trading and you're seeing, you're thinking this thing's just going to go down, 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 down. But watch what we call the lightning 3. I'm going to go ahead and let this fast forward just a little bit so you can see it. When the numbers show up on that chart, should get a number anytime. There's your number. See that number right there? That number that showed up is lightning 3. Okay? So if this was to decide to break above lightning 3, then you'd be looking for that same trade we were talking about up here, but it didn't happen, right? So you're always looking for these. We got a new part of our indicator called the potential trend change long that will actually tag that trade because it'll be looking for this lightning 3, and if it breaks above it, it'll alert you up here. Okay? I actually traded that last night. I showed that this morning on my Top Step account. And that little trade actually, I'll show you what actually happened with it. And watch that little indicator light up too. See, by the way, this was a good short too. See how it just kissed resistance? If you took it. All right, that's your lightning 3 right there, right? Now watch what this thing does. Pings around, pings around. See your little lightning? It broke it, and it broke it. Comes back and kisses it. Take a trade. Take another trade if you wanted to. You could do it based on the little swings. Let me show you how to do this. This is pretty cool. And I've got this going pretty fast, so let me slow it down just a little bit. Show you something here. Minor trade, long, and watch this thing as it breaks these little swings. It'll actually light up these little candles here. So let's say that I wanted one more if it broke this one with a close. Well, we didn't wait, but let's do the next one. We'll go the next one. We'll wait for a close. See if I can show you. Of course, our stop would be right under here, right? Let's go ahead and get rid of our region. We don't need it. I like this this minor trend break because what this is drawing is lightning 1. And a lot of times we'll draw lightning 1 in the room, but you see all those zigzags on your chart. Well, this is actually drawing that lightning 1 as it's stair stepping. This is lightning 1 as it broke that swing. And then of course this actually busted up and started heading up. But watch it as it breaks a little swing, it'll actually change again to that little white box. Watch it. See, well, that one already did right there, so I'd buy another one. And now you're in a total of 3. All right? And what I did last night that I showed, and by the way, you saw it, so it's a real thing, but let me show you what I actually did. I actually set a target based on drawing my little swings, where I was, if I remember right, I had my box at 57. But you can actually turn these targets off like so, and then just literally let the trade run. Okay, now Object Trader has the ability to, let's say for instance, you wanted to go ahead and let this trade just run all night. Well, I've got my stop at mid-band by doing this. Line 4. And simply engage the trail. And that trail would actually do that even while you went to sleep. Okay? Which is definitely not a bad way, but you got to be careful, obviously, if you had a glitch in electricity or anything like that. But that stop is not at your broker, but this one is right here. Okay, so if something were to happen and you got a glitch, you'd still get stopped out way down here, which would have hurt, but it wouldn't kill your account, even if you lost power. Now, if you didn't use the exit on close, you wouldn't have to worry about it, because that would be your stop at your broker. You got that long last night, Jonathan? Yeah, that was a killer trade. I showed it this morning in the room. It was, just pinged around 7 o'clock or so. It was just doing nearly nothing. And it took off all night long. I'll show you what you can also do too, which is what I did. If you got a trade in, you can't go changing numbers here, because if it's under this number here, it'll shut you off. So what I did last night is I simply got a Word document. Show you what I did here. Bear with me 1 second. We're going to talk about lots of good trades today that were called, but I want to show you this just real quick. Let's see here. Got to get to my downloads and open a little folder here. Here we go. All right, so what I did is I just wrote the number 3000 like so, and then copied it and pasted it in here. See, because you can't write it in there, because the moment you start writing a letter, or a number, Object Trader thinks when you put a 1 in there, you just wanted $1. Well, you're already up 702, so it says, okay, I'm going to shut it off. But what I did is I put in the 3000 like that, all right? And then what I did after that is I put this drawdown at 10%. Okay, I also put another notepad and said, okay, if it costs me $500, then I'm going to get out, period. Even if I'm asleep and lose $500, I'm not too against that. So I just simply put this down as my max drawdown, like so. And then just went to bed. And that's all there was to it. It stayed in the trade literally all night long. Oh, bear with me a second. Sorry about that. I copied 3000 in there, and I copied 500 in there, and I did a 10% drawdown. Now, as this trade continues up, watch what Object Trader does automatically. Watch mid-band. As it moves up, mid-band will move up with it. See, right now it's flat. It's got to go up higher to get that mid-band to pop. There, it just popped. And if you think about a trade like this, I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning to just come look at my computer again. And this is what had happened. See, it's got to get to 3 before it'll ever draw down. See, I'm not letting it draw down just to draw down. In other words, I was trying to get the gusto overnight, because I knew this thing just, went sideways like crazy on Friday. So I knew it was going to break today. There was just no question about it. When they go sideways like they did on Friday, they break. And watch Object Trader as it gets up there. When it gets to 3000, if it draws back 10%, it will take you out of the trade. Now there's 3000, and if it draws back, it'll get you out of that trade. Or you'll stop out, period. And there's your stop out right there. Now, is that a beautiful way to trade or what? Using the features built into the tool. Now, do they normally do like this? No. But was I risking anything? Once I got in this area right here, I'm pretty sure I got in here though, because I got in on that little pullback. But anyway, if you got in like here, to give an example, and this thing just rode and rode and rode, You know, granted, it was up like $500 and back to zero again, you know, as you were watching TV or whatever, but then it started stair-stepping up and stair-stepping up. See how cool that is? Not a bad way to trade. But I think I left one of my targets, if I remember right, because I had 57. Matter of fact, I could show you. Well, I can't actually show you when I'm in replay, but before we shut down, I'll show you the actual trade if it's still on there, because it is another day now, so it may not be. But I had one of them to pop off at 57 because I had diagnosed my chart and drawn a line. Okay, so see how that'll do though? That'll actually, you know, keep you in the trade. Now I was only able to get 26.40. I showed it this morning. Okay, so you know, probably with the fact that it took out two of them at 57, where this thing went all the way to 62, because this actually went up to 3,040 something before it pulled back. But if you set Object Trader at 3,000, the moment it clicks that timer there, so to speak, it starts looking at a 10% drawdown. But before it hit 3,000, it would never draw down. You know, it would just keep either trailing or take me out at $500 loss, one or the other. Because that's what I'd set it at, $500, 3,000. And then once it hit 3, then that kicked in to where this algorithm then says, okay, I can't draw back more than 10% now. Well, since this one went up to 33 something, 10% was down to 29.30. But for some reason, I had my target sitting at 57 last night. And I'd have to look at the chart again to see how I did it, because it was based on one of the big moves, like I always do. I'm pretty sure it was more than likely that plus that. Okay, we'd have to just check it to see. All right. Now let's go ahead and look at this morning, because I want to show you, you know, how you can really see these trades. And you know, don't be afraid to draw trend lines on your charts and different things like that, because they really do work. Okay, so this thing went up like crazy literally all night, and matter of fact, it came back to mid-band, and there was even another trade right there, by the way. Okay, but when I got up at 5, I did this little deal. I said, okay, this thing's gone up all night. It took me out. I was flat. I was up 26.30. So I drew a Fibonacci on it. Okay, so I started drawing my lines on my chart, and I figured if it pulled back, it was going to pull back somewhere between here. Okay, and with fibs, you gotta kind of watch it, because you don't know where they're technically starting them, you know, because this was a thrust retrace and then a big thrust. So did they start the fib down here instead? See what I mean? And that was a 38% retracement right down here into the phantom area. Okay, so let me show you what happened. Bear with me a second. I'm going to show you how to use this little indicator again too. Let me go ahead and get rid of the lines. We don't need them. Well, let's leave the lines. We'll get rid of the fibs. Let's leave the lines. We don't need this one. By the way, has everybody been studying the little indicator? See how that says chart P&L reached? That's because I had set it for the auto feature. We haven't really gone over this, but it is in the ebook. I don't use it that often, but last night I thought, you know, you little rat, you chopped around all day on Friday, so you're going to move tonight. And sure enough, it did, especially when it broke that lightning 3. I knew it was heading up when it broke this lightning 3, because that's a trend change. See how you had a double bottom, and then you had a higher low, and then they break these lightning 3s? Draw your line right on that lightning 3, and you can see where they kissed it right there. So, killer trade. All right, but let's watch this little indicator. I want to show you how the phantom sets up. We'll do a phantom long. Since we already missed the yellow bar, this was a good trade, by the way. If you were up, I wasn't up until 5. I just saw this thing flat. A lot of people wait for these phantoms just to set up. Now your phantom, by the way, if you've been trading, is right down in here, but you don't have to worry about that anymore because we got an indicator that'll tell you where the phantom's at. Got this thing moving pretty quick, don't I? There's your phantom setting up right there. Now watch our little bar start flashing as this phantom materializes. We got our phantom long on, right? Phantom long trade. Speed it up just a little bit more. See your little green flash right there? And what I like to personally do is see if I can get an ABC at all so I can draw a trend line. Because a trend line will really make you a lot of money rather than just jumping in. Now, I don't like to jump in a phantom unless I at least get to line 1. Or if I do a line 2, you want it really to go your direction right off the bat. Okay, but look how these do these trend lines. See this right here where you're getting a little low, high, higher, low? You can use this feature right here called the wedge and draw that little trend line. And you can also even move it just a little bit away just in case. That way you don't get just wicked in, you know, if you want to. And just let the trade do its own thing. Now sometimes they'll fake you in on these right here, so you gotta be careful. You can get in and out really quick if they do. Didn't get it yet. It should get it right about now, unless it blew through that line. We'll see. We'll redo it. Here we go. Now, are any of you afraid of that little trade right there, by the way? Getting this little trade when it breaks that wedge line. Let's see, can we use Ranko bars, Gary? Well, you can definitely use Ranko bars, Hardy, on your question. Absolutely, you can do that. You want to use Ranko bars instead? I'm going to go ahead and fire that, by the way. That is definitely a phantom. And I think I killed my object trader because it's in, let me check. Yeah, there's nothing on. Let me check my orders here real quick. Nothing on, so let me redo object trader just real quick. Anytime you start and stop object trader in a big move like this, if you ever run into that, especially in replay, just restart it. And always wait for a bar to close before you put it on. I always take everything off the chart like so, redraw it. Like that. And then if it goes above that, it should actually fire. Why am I not firing? Oh, region, duh. Did I do that a minute ago on region instead? I thought I was on wedge. I'll just redraw it like that. We're getting in late. Let me show you how to get in this also, though. I'll show you a little trick. See this little stair stepping? Turn on this indicator and see where that's flashing right there. It's flashing right here. That's screaming to go up. Okay, we got in definitely late, but the reason we did is because I forgot to change that from region to wedge. Okay, now if you were boxing this in instead, okay, let's go ahead and kill this trade for just a second. If you were boxing this in instead, then go ahead and box it down here and watch your little white bars to give an example. Okay, for instance, let's say that you were looking here and you said, okay, you got resistance right across here, so I would draw a box more like this. Something like this, and you'd be waiting for it to break because that's resistance. And then as it heads lower, you can just keep dropping your box. You know, drop your box to the next swing. It drops further, drop your box to the next swing, and then pretty soon you're in. Okay? And of course, draw your trend lines too, because here's your trend line on this particular trade right here. See it, thrust, retrace, thrust. That's your entry right there. Okay, so that got in about the same spot as the box. Okay, now what we did since you got your last alert indicator, I added the one trade I was showing everybody on Saturday, and that's this little micro trade. But it no longer has to worry about the mid-band, because I got to thinking, you know, that the mid-band trade is good for that. The phantom trade is good for that. But if you want to just see micro swings, you really want it to fire all the way down here. Okay, and you can control this with lightning 1, 2, or whatever you want it to be. You just simply go into your indicator and right down here, see, I've got this one set on a 2 range, 1 strength. Okay, but we're doing 4 range bars, so it's still going to wait for a closed bar. So that's given me really good entries based on, you know, a 4 range bar closing up, but not having to wait for the full little thrust retrace on a 4 range. Okay, so that's a very tight type of lightning. But see how good it is when you get on these retraces like this? See, it literally just looked at this little area like a box and turned on the indicator. Okay. Now this little trade, by the way, if you took this today, this little trade went up through this with a vengeance and just kept on trucking. Now, if you had missed this right here, you know, way down here, the only way that I will personally chase a trade like this is if it does not go back against me. You know, if this was to actually close a touch above that, I might go ahead and take a shot at it. If it comes back and kisses a support area, I'd probably even take a shot more at the bottom instead, something like that. And then just whichever fires. And usually if I do this, I even drag my little box, because it's like a, you know, just like putting an order in on a bracket. And that's if you are into that type of trade, because that's already breaking up. You needed to get in way down here. Now let's go to 759. We'll go ahead and kill that. We don't care. Let's go to 755, and I'll let this thing just move to 755. That's when I open the room. And then let me ask everybody real quick. Okay, that's 755. Now, if you didn't short this already up here, what kind of a trade are you looking for on this right here? You're looking for a long trade still, aren't you? Because look at this mid band right here. It's still yellow. We did get a mid background that was changing. You could have been short up here, yes, with the potential trend change that we talked about. You could definitely do that, or even the break of swings as it broke it. You know, as it's stair stepping, it breaks the swing. You could do that. But this little trade right here, the reason that I called that this morning is because I always look to the left to trade the right. Notice how oil had pulled back and changed the background earlier, and still had a mid band that was long. So isn't this just a deep retracement? Always look at your fibs too if you got time to do it. That's a 61% retracement, by the way. That's a perfect classic retracement on a move like that. But anyway, we actually boxed this in the room. But if you were short from up here, keep in mind that you could cover your short, but that this is also, if you look to the left to trade the right, this was a major uptrend. Okay, high, low, higher, high. That's your low right there. Right? This is nothing but a little retrace trade. Now, let me show you how to take it. If you don't want to just, you know, take it willy-nilly, you can actually take the little break. Let me just turn this region off. Let's watch the little indicator. We got it turned on already, right? Minimum trade. See if we can get a little minimum trade, and I'll just fire 2 contracts, we get a little minimum white bar. Power meter's still red. This is like boxing it in, by the way. Now, is that a phantom trade right there, everyone? Look at that. Mid-band is still. And notice the phantom colors are flashing, but they won't flash in this background. They only flash in this background. Okay, this is a little deeper, but could you box it in right here? What if this little bar turns white? Nice deep retracement. There's my little white bar. Put my stop just underneath the swing and move a runner out of the way, move one up to a swing, and then just ride the trade. Okay, now this particular trade in the room, remember I called out, we had a line drawn on our chart of 64, remember? And 72, if I remember right, wasn't it? Yeah. Remember that? That was the trade that I called this morning in the room. And for people that took that, by the way, it hit 64 and it hit 72 and then it rolled over. But where did it roll to? They know right where you're getting in. So let me draw a box and I'll show you what they do usually. They're breaking out of that little box right there. Right? Watch them as they come up and they pull back and kiss it. There's your little break. Now we would have taken some profit, obviously. There's your 72. Okay, I called it live in the room and everything. Now that was actually, see how it came right back on top of my box? Notice I drew that ahead of time. See the little box there? That's why so many people will give up money in their trading, because they don't go ahead and take scalp money. And then I even mentioned if it closed back inside the box today, you could get out of the trade. Or if you wanted to, that's where you got in the first time. We called this trade live in the room. And if you use this new little indicator, this little thing was screaming to go up. See these bars? And notice now, see you got another one right there? It's looking to the left. It's also looking over here. And just watch what actually happened with it. And you can use this new little indicator for it. Now, usually when I get a shotgun like that, now watch, now turn this one on too. See your little white indicators? Do you remember where we took this out? When it changed to the short, watch where it flashed. See it right there? Well, going too fast, but let me show it to you. I forgot to turn it on, but it's there. It does it live. See that little bar right there? We called that trade out right there on that bar this morning. Because what was this doing? At the time, it was stair-stepping up, stair-stepping up, stair-stepping up. When did it stop stair-stepping up? When it took out that swing. Remember that? Now, that's definitely not a bad way to trade, because that way you're not having to let it go all the way to mid-band, because you don't know when it goes to mid-band if it's going to take you out with a closed bar to begin with, because they usually do. But couldn't you just get out of that trade and then back in it? Because that trade, by the way, this turned out to be another little trade. We called this one also. Where could you have gotten it? Right there on that bar, if you boxed it. We called it at mid-band. Okay? We called it at mid-band. What if you missed it literally from right here? Well, you'd have to wait for it to pop the little white bar, and that would be fairly risky. I'd like for it to pull back a little bit first. And if it doesn't, probably wouldn't chase it. We're still in one. Our stop obviously wouldn't be way down there. Everybody see that? You like these new indicators? How did you not get wicked out in on the first down? Chuck, on your question, wicked in on the first down. You mean short? Were you talking about a short? See if he's, oh, wait just a second. Oh, that was a long time ago, Chuck. Sorry about that. I had my question log flipped around the other way. Let's see, could you possibly explain why you're drawing fibs from top of initial swing, Igor? Well, on your question, Igor, let's just stop the trading for just a little bit. I'll show you. See, like for instance, right now, if I was to draw fibs on this chart, I would draw them from down here to that swing. And see, basically, they've been bouncing about off this 23%. Here's your 50%, 38% right here. Here's your 50. And here's your 61 down here. Now, let me ask a quick question on this. With a new feature like you've got, and you know that you're looking for these swings, could you take a trade if this draws like a lightning 3 and they happen to break this swing? Could you actually take that trade short if that number shows up? I don't know if I got that set or not. Let's find out. Yeah, there's the number. Now remember, we don't do that though because we're not breakout traders as much as we are retracement. This morning in the room, this actually broke this swing. And where was it called? We drew the line ahead of time. Let me show you what happened. Turned out to be a nice little long trade I called, wasn't it? Okay, see it breaking? Now, are we retracement traders or are we breakout traders? Well, you could have taken a breakout, no question about it. But could you actually be ready to take this trade the moment that it hit that line? And by the way, this turned out to be a little phantom at first. You might have even gotten, 10 ticks on the phantom. See, it hit line 1. And then it took it out a little bit, didn't stop you out. Took it out a little bit more, might have stopped you out. And then it goes up here and tests that swing right up here. That's again why so many people will lose on trades, because what they'll do is, they'll try to take these breakouts. They don't always come down this deep, but watch this when it comes back and kisses. Those kiss trades are worth their weight in gold. Sometimes they don't go all the way up either, but, if you draw your lines and they come close to it, you could always take it if it turns that little bar black or if it kisses that line. And we didn't turn that on. Now, let me show you what I called in the room, though. We called this one when it rolled over, but we also called, remember I said, watch for the actual trend to change. See, this is still an uptrend, although it's still breaking. I mean, it's a pseudo uptrend, but it's actually trying to break. Right? But watch our software. As it starts figuring this out, it's going to change that. There's your little trade, by the way. See it? Could you take that? You're too late if you didn't already. See it? Perfect little line. Anyway, let me show you the trade that we called in the room. We called that one when it kissed the line. And we called this one, remember? This little trade, you're going to want to train your eyes to see, because this is a mid-band trade. You're looking for this trade. Turn on this indicator called mid-band short and watch it flash as it gets up there. Went too fast, but see it flashing right there. That's actually the little breakdown. All right, we called that trade right here on the predictor. Did that trade pay off, everybody? It paid off big time, didn't it? So train your eye to see these in real time. Now, I had that going like 500 times, so we didn't fire the trade. But you definitely could have, couldn't you? Because predictor was telling you that you could. And does anybody remember how much oil dropped after we closed? I mean, even before we closed the room, as far as that goes. It dropped like crazy. Okay? So in real time, is everybody going to start really watching these indicators and boxing in and doing these trades the correct way? Like for instance, this trade that was called live in the room this morning. Monster trade, right? Does anybody remember where it was called? This little white box was flashing at the time, or not flashing, but drawing on the chart. But on my trading chart, I was watching this right here. So you had a low, you had a high, you had a higher low, and then they break the swing right here on that box. Didn't take out the swing, so you stayed in it, gave you 10 ticks. Came down into the box, we called it again, and even said to box it in if you wanted to, like that, and take it on that bar. And off it went. Okay? We're trying to design everything so everybody can get really monster trades, so that you can, for instance, if you did 2 contracts, that's a $200 bill. If you did 2 contracts, that's a $200 bill. If you did 2 contracts on that one, that was a $200 bill. Obviously more than that, but at least 200. If you did this one, the very first out of the gate, you don't ever take a trade off when the bar's going straight up. Okay, if you see bars going straight up like this did, the moment you get maybe a reversal bar, you might take it out, but I would let it always stay with bars that are going straight up. Okay, but these little indicators I think are going to help a lot. And they're not black box either. You can change them to whatever you want. If you use Renko bars, these are MTF indicators. So you can change this to anything you want. Instead of a range bar, choose a Object Trader Renko. If you got a different Renko, use it. Okay. I personally like the 4, the 15, and I like the 4 and 1, but I'm playing with a 2 and 1 just to see, because this indicator is brand new to me too. So I'm really watching its effectiveness at closing a full bar like on a 4-range chart, but triggering my algorithm on a 2. And that seems to get you in really, really good too. Okay. But like I said, this is not black box. You can change anything up here that you want. You can change your colors. If you don't like the colors that I've set on your defaults, change these to anything you want. But just make sure you can see them on the color charts that they print on. Okay, now let's go over how these print so that everybody will know to trust them a little bit more, okay? On the mid-band trade, long, it is looking for, it has to have the mid-band, bear with me a second, the mid-band has to be either blue or green. It cannot be a yellow, it won't print. Okay, so that's why that mid-band trade can be so good. See it flashing right there? Okay, the same thing on the short one. Let's see if we can find a short right over here. Yeah, there's a mid-band right there. Okay, so this is only looking for this color mid-band or red. It's not looking for a yellow one because that's still a long, and it's not looking for the rose-colored one. All right, that's the mid-band trade. Now on the minimum criteria, I think everybody knows that, right? We're looking for the bar to close above stealth and line 2 on a short and below stealth and line 6 on a long. Okay, and those are just simply minimum criteria trades. Still though, based on the trend has to be good. We're not looking at sideways type stuff. All right, so that's the minimum criteria. The Phantom now, on the other hand, it is simply looking for this color background on a long, in other words, this is going to be this on a long period. If this is this yellow background, that's a long until it breaks down. Okay, same way on the short, it's this color right here. And see, you don't always get them because we were already long on this one. At the open, you're kind of ignoring phantoms. Okay, so that's your phantom trade. And then you've got your potential trend change. Now your potential trend change, I've got mine set at 4 and 15 because it's looking for lightning 3. Because when you see lightning 3, like when I was trading last night, for instance, on this chart right here overnight, this was 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and see your lightning 3, let me show you here. All right. So your lightning 3, low, high, lower, low. So you knew if it broke this lightning right here that you no longer had a trend to the downside. Okay. So see that little indicator? It prints even on this one because this was actually a lightning 3 by that time because it had formed quite a few bars getting there. So basically, if you took this break here or even here, you got your really good trade. That's why I like the potential trend change, because it'll help you even when the trend goes the opposite direction, like so. And I'll turn on the potential trend change short so you can see it. Let me turn some of the others off so it's not confusing. Turn all these off. Turn on potential trend change short. See that bar right there flashing? That was telling you that lightning 3 was being broken. Now, did that turn into a long trade after that? Yes, but look at that. Nice 10 or 15 tick trade. Okay, so you can take those if they break. You know, just don't let them go back against you and try to get 10 ticks on them. Okay, you can see the same thing. Let's see where it shows next. Lightning 3 right here. More than likely this would flash. Let's see it. Yeah, it's flashing right here because it's breaking this one. Okay, so that's telling you. Now, it doesn't mean you have to just take it immediately, because even though that's a potential trend change, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get a fake and then pop it in your face, but you can box them in, can't you? Okay, and the same thing on the short, although we didn't get out of our short until quite a bit later in the afternoon. But what we tried to do is just design these as best for everyone, and don't turn them all on because it'll get confusing as it can be. I've tried it myself even. I think, now what color is so-and-so? I can tell what the trade is because I designed it, and most of you know them anyway that have been with us a long time. But for instance, if you want to just simply look at the minor swings, just turn on the minors and you'll see them flash. As this was heading up, heading up, heading up, it started heading down right there. So you could actually, that's like boxing it. Okay. This one right here started breaking down right across here. Could you box it? Yep. So I think this will help a lot as far as getting you, where you'll be able to see some of these really minor trend breaks, because remember on your charts, you actually have 4 trends. You've got lightning 1, 2, 3, and 4. We don't care about 4 as much. We care about those 3 right there. And with lightning 3, drawing on your chart, and by the way, that'll draw in real time. I'll show you. In real time when it sees the swing, that is, because it's got to look for 15 swing strength. It'll probably draw here more than likely in a bit. It's a pretty good downtrend. There you go. See it? Because that did no kind of retracement. That was just pretty much a down. 4 range bars are just not that large. So see, that's a huge move. So where would this actually change trends if it was decided to break up? Right across here. Okay, let's see. Can you show the settings for the object trader? You mean on which one, Dennis, on your question? You mean on the object trader chart panel here? Oh, the alert settings? Well, there's no alert on the object trader itself. It's on this little indicator. See, there's your swing right there. Now, see how it's just stair-stepping down, stair-stepping down. Draws another one. Probably draw one here, I'll bet you. Yep, did. See how it just kissed it? Now it draws it here. See how that works? Let's see, is a negative value allowed in region? Well, actually, you just change it, Bhaskar, to an inside instead. So, like, for instance, if you wanted to, short like a top, to give an example, you can do like short inside. That's like a negative instead of having to short it on the outside. Okay. Or like a long, to give you an example, on Object Trader, basically what it does is it looks at the bottom of the box and it looks at the top of the box. That's your two buttons right there. And whatever you set this on is what it actually does. I'm going to stop this real quick. All right. What this is set on here, like let's say for instance I had a bunch of prices in here, it was going sideways, and I was wanting to short the top and buy the bottom. Okay. I could simply set the top for short inside, like say touch +2 to give an example, if I knew that was resistance. Okay. And then get my little trade. Or I could even buy off the bottom by doing long inside. So basically your trade would trigger more like this and more like this. It would never have to touch those bottoms or that top. Okay, you want to go long oil with a close of -2. When you say -2, you're meaning an offset then, right? You can do that with this. Yeah, just right here, you can just set your offset. That can go plus or minus. I usually just move my stop real quick, but you can definitely do that if you want, if you're more of a scalper. Okay, let's see. Did I miss any questions at all? Because we're running just right at an hour. Let me see if I missed any. Would it be a problem with OT trading through the midnight? You mentioned that before, not to trade. Well, keep in mind that basically, Michael, on your question, you got to kind of just know what's going on in the market, though, because see, oil on Friday just pretty much just chopped around. So when it chopped around on Friday, you know that very soon after that you're going to get a good trading session. Let me see if I can find Friday. So that's the 12th, so that should be the 10th right here. Yeah, see, this was Friday right here. This is where we were in the room on Friday, from here, and it never even broke out of the range, literally that it did by 8:30. We did get some nice little trades though. We called this trade nice little short. This was a phantom trade up here. This was a little rollover trade. I don't remember if we got that one or not, because we buy the phantoms on this color background, but since it was this color, we didn't. Can you show the settings for the Object Trader alerts? I want to take a picture. Sure. Your template has it exactly like mine, Dennis, on your question, but I'll go ahead and do that. This is all Ninja right down here, so I'll just go past it and show you just our settings. See if that's going to allow us, and then I'll go a little bit taller. Then we'll go up. That's it right there. Take a picture. Alert settings, you mean, I'm not following on that. You mean up here on the little box? The names of them? This is the names of them right here. And see, each one of those will show up in this color. Is a negative value allowed on region? Bhaskar, you already asked that, right? Oh, on like a one range, or okay, yeah. Let me show you how to do that. If you wanted, say, for instance, let's say that instead of a 4-range chart, you wanted to do an Object Trader Renko. You just set this for Object Trader Renko. 242 is the default, but it doesn't default in an indicator like that, so you have to go down here and set it. And I'd probably set it for like 242. Something, whoop, a second. 2, 4, and then 2. Keep hitting that twice. Okay, so 2, where am I at? I'm okay up here. Just a second. 242. And then you could put it whatever swing strength you wanted. I still like the 15 swing strength because it gives you these lightning threes. All right, but if you set it like that, for instance, that's Ranco on that one. And keep in mind that that's not changing the candles themselves to Rancos. That's actually just looking at a Ranco bar, even with the 4-range chart. So it probably set them a little bit differently. Let's see what it looks like. I haven't played around too much with that. I like the 4s. Hopefully we don't lock up. Now, if you want to change yeah, and if you get this, by the way, this is because, like in replay, to give an example, there's nothing telling it what the price is right now. So if you even reload the template, let me show you something here. Even if you reload the template, you probably won't fix that problem. Let me just put it on alert and I'll show you. Because obviously those bars aren't the right color, right? So if that ever happens to you, like you run out of data or something like that, or you try to load a chart when there's no data on it, maybe after hours, okay, watch and see if it comes back. Yeah, see, it didn't. So what I do if it ever does that is just simply go to File, New Chart, Oil, and do my alert on there. Because the one thing about NinjaTrader is it's trying to load things, but our MTF indicators are multiple tick frames. And one of those bars has not closed yet on that Ranco. So it doesn't know what it's doing on that chart just yet. Let's see if we can draw a brand new one if it draws. Yeah, see, there's your colors again. Okay, so if that ever happens to you, just simply, kill that chart and redraw you another one. It's that easy. Yeah, and one thing about that, Kenneth, we don't want to get so sophisticated that we, kind of shoot ourselves in the foot, but we also want to catch these beautiful trades, that set up on these charts. So I really like the alert indicator, but it does have some things that are a little different on it by the fact that it draws its own bars and everything. You no longer have to use your bar colors because that's all built into the alert. But if I wanted to change that, for instance, to a Ranco bar, which I didn't because, see, we just went back to the same template. But what you'd want to do is you'd want to change everything and set your template as that. Okay, let's see. Ignore the background, Kenneth. You mean if the background ever doesn't draw correctly? Yeah, I only find a couple of times that this happens if you're using replay and also if you have no data. Because, like, to give an example, on Sunday, you don't have to put the background's part of the template. Yeah, it's part of the template, so you get that. This was a monster short, wasn't it? Time and time again, couldn't you have gotten trades on here? Trades, trades, trades. Just always wait for the retrace. You got to wait for the retrace. These mid-band trades and higher, or at least your minimum criteria trades, and then your little alert indicator will let you know where they're at. Minimum criteria short. See, there's one right there, and you just follow it up and box it in. Same thing here, follow it up, box it in. Went up higher, box it in, short. Okay, yeah, your template consists of all of these indicators right here. Your stealth trend, your trade alert, your background, MTF, your horizontal lines, which gives you that little label on the line, lightning 1, 2, 3, and 4, power display, power trend, predictor MTF, swing high low, time regions, and toolbar. And that template's on the website. So exactly my template's on the website. Okay, ran a little bit over. Does anybody have any final questions? I tried to cover this as much as possible and also show, how to see it in real time. And the reason I went ahead and added this little trade to it, this is the same trade right here. It's just that the settings are different. So I decided to put a second one in that gives me a little bit more heads up on the really micro type moves. And rather than having to change it, you've got two of them on here. You can change these to anything you want. If you're not comfortable with something that's that fast, then change it to something different. You know, and always remember though, whatever you turn on, the colors that these turn on to are the exact colors that are in the indicator settings. And if you change those, they change the colors themselves. See, like I've got this one black right here, so it's, well, no, I've got it purple, sorry. So see, that's the colors I've got right there. And if you don't like that silver and you want a white background, be careful because you got some colors that are close to white so they wouldn't show. Okay. You could put a black background on here and it'd show pretty good except for these purple ones. That's why I chose gray. Okay, and how to use it, we're going to keep going over it continually, Bhaskar. Which alert indicators do you recommend to watch initially for the most part? I watch the different ones for the different trades. Because see, right now they're all on. That's confusing to me. Okay? So, you know, like let's say for instance you were watching this in real time and this goes up and you see it getting close to mid-band. Then, you know, you're really looking for more of a mid-band trade. So just turn that one on. You know, like I was saying on Saturday's webinar, Charles probably won't use a lot of these other indicators because he is not a phantom taker. You know, you can get some of the best trades in the world on phantom, but you can also miss a good short on a long and vice versa on a short because they're already breaking one way, you know, and you can get a good trade. But see, let's say that you were watching that in real time and you said, oh, that's coming to a mid-band trade. Let's see where the indicator says. Okay, box it in with Object Trader. Now, we can't in hindsight, but let's just box it. And then keep boxing it. Just keep dragging your box up. Ah, come on. Box it again. Box it again. And you would have gotten the trade just roughly right underneath there. And what about the little rollover indicator? Look at it. See, I've got it in purple. Again, I like that one in black myself because see, with purple and your mid-band in like this color, see how that doesn't pop? That's a purple one right there, but you can't tell it. So what I would do is go in here and change that one to black. That's what I did on my chart. Okay? Because the whole thing is you want to see the trade. And see, that's a little darker than that one. And that is truly that particular indicator. I'll show you that it is. We'll just look at it lower down as it breaks. See what I've got it set on just a second. 415, 4-1. I like it on 2-1. See how 4, if you get bars straight down, it doesn't do anything for you. What's the difference in 2-1? And I'll set it with black and I'll show you. Right click and set that as my default and then load it. We'll wrap in just a second. Somebody asked that final question and we'll get it real quick. Power meter and lightning is absolutely connected, Bhaskar. A lightning 1, 2, 3, and 4 is power display 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, let's go ahead and do the minimum criteria short and watch where it actually triggers the trade. Let's see here. See right here when it's breaking? Now, I'm not sure why it didn't right here. It waited till it broke down a little bit further. But see it breaking there. It's breaking here, 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 here. Like I said, I'm not sure why it doesn't here. I would think it would, unless the price is really never printed there and we're just going by historical data. That's one thing about market replay. You don't really know for a fact that your price was here, and evidently it wasn't, because that would have printed there, because that's actually breaking that swing. But play around with it and see what you think. And, you know, We love these trades like this. I mean, if you wait for a retrace and you get these mid-band trades, you get these mid-band trades, you get these mid-band trades, you get these minimum criteria trades, you get these mid-band again, just mainly don't chase a trade, because, if you missed a trade, you got to wait for that retrace. Okay? And we'll go over a lot of how to use this, and I'll keep, playing around with it in the room every day, and we'll see how everybody likes it. But I like it so far myself, because it gives you a heads up of where these trades are. We know where they're at because we designed it, but I don't need this little indicator per se, but I do like the idea of having it flash and go, oh, wait a minute, I've got a mid-band trade setting up. Okay? We'll do this again tomorrow on the charts. Everybody, thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. And just remember that the changes on the website. Now, I'm not going to be around tonight. I've been doing this all day, literally. So if anybody needs the scripts tonight, just remove your old one, file utilities remove, and simply import the new one and then your template. Okay? If not, we'll do it tomorrow. Okay? And pretty soon we're going to turn off Object Trader 01, but not just yet. Okay? Thanks everybody for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. And again, keep in mind, with these little tools like this, you're going to be able to make some monster trades, because if you think about just some of these trades with two contracts, when they go above these mid bands and you can draw trend lines and things, I mean, you don't have to be even at your computer. You just got to wait for the retrace and get in a trade. And that's what it's all about. Okay? Thanks everybody for coming. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will do it tomorrow. Bye everyone. Thanks. I will have this up probably within the next 30 minutes. Oh, and by the way, just real quick heads up for people that are here on trial. This is going to be available on the trial. I got it. Linda's got it already, as a matter of fact. So if you're on trial and you want to try out the alert indicator, just holler. All right. Thanks, everyone.